Alright, hey everybody. Long time since my last video, but just wanted to provide you guys a update project on what I've been up to on the 282T project, as well as kind of why I haven't gotten it done as well quickly as I'd like to. I think it's probably been a year or so now since I went on that cider train at the Mount Rainier Scenic Railway and Logging Museum, or Mount Rainier Railway and Logging Museum. I totally forget the name. Anyways, we'll start with the 282T. So I made a lot of changes since the last video and ultimately decided to scrap the project and actually ended up just kit bashing from another locomotive you can see in the back here. I'll show you guys the 3D printed version in a second and where it ended. As you can see, that's kind of what I've gone with. It's nothing groundbreaking, it's not spectacular by any means. I've never tried kit bashing before this, so I'm pretty happy with the results. I realized, like, it's, you know, the steam dome is back here, you have the steam dynamo, the bell, the air brakes. It would need a dome for sand, which their 282T I believe has right behind the smokestack. But it's not bad. The hardest part about doing this was I had to change out the cylinders to actually be the, not the simple kind, like you can see there, but the compound? I'm not sure. I'm not totally knowledgeable on a lot of this stuff yet, but you know, there's always room to grow. This is what the model started out looking like. So you can see it has the simple cylinder. If I can bring my finger up here properly, there you go. Simple cylinder right there, the wheels. It had an open frame motor, and I have pretty dramatically changed it up. So the saddleback is a 3D printed part that just kind of snaps down over the top. A lot of the other parts are just kind of brass detail parts that I've bought and just very carefully super glued into place. You know, again, nothing spectacular, but I'm pretty happy with how it's turned out. I did do a motor swap. I found, I know a lot of people end up using Northwest Shortline motors. I found a pretty good equivalent on DigiKey and installed it. You can kind of see, let's see if we can get that in there. You can kind of see the worm gear set up right there and the motor tucked away in the cab. I had to 3D print a little stand. You can see it's kind of sitting in right there, but I had to 3D print a little stand for that to sit on, so the motor could, the worm gear could properly align with the, the worm gear gear set could align properly. And then of course I have a DCC chip installed. I have to, probably still do wheel cleaning, probably add some graphite back in, program the chip and see how it goes from there. It's just going to have the chip programmed for now. I haven't gotten the lights functional yet because that's probably going to require a complete teardown and rebuild. Okay, as for the 3D printed one, this is about where I ended off. As you can see, it's a good deal smaller, kind of stubbier. The reason I didn't follow up with the 3D printing and just decided to do a kit bash, I wasn't getting the resolution I wanted. I couldn't get the overall, precision I wanted as well, especially with a lot of the smaller parts like these wheels. As I think I mentioned prior, the idea was to try and 3D print all the parts. Turns out that's really tough unless you have a super good 3D printer. But I did manage to get the alignment down, as well as the front and back wheels having flanges and the middle ones not. And it does run, let's see, so that's the first issue I had, was that bind. So it does run relatively well, but that would actually need a second bar up top to ensure that it doesn't tilt inwards and bind up. But I mean, it worked. I was having a lot of issues trying to get the motor aligned with the gear up here at the front. Again, those are just like cheap nylon gears that I found. I wasn't using brass. I did learn how to solder together some brass parts, putting this thing together. So maybe in the future, not for this project because I'm kind of calling it quits here for the 282T, but in the future if I kit bash something else, I might try soldering together like a brass engine overall. That might be kind of interesting to try. Oregon Coast Scenic Railway's getting the Skookum going. I've seen kits on eBay. Those are typically very expensive and very rare. So why not take two switcher locomotives that are 040s with that simple piston style, like you can see there, and then kit bash something together like that. That might be kind of a fun project. It might be my next one. The reason why, though, it took me so long to get this done is because I was working on also rebuilding the Polson Logging number 2. Again, I know they make the 70-ton Baldwin 282 engines out of brass. Pretty expensive. I try to, work with a pretty tight budget, see what I can get done, and this is what I got. So this is what it started looking at like. Pretty rough shape. I think I bought it for, I think it was $120 including shipping. This one I picked up for $20 plus shipping. But it went through a lot of iterations. It didn't have the front smoke box cover when I initially got it, so I've sunk a good deal of work into it, probably as much as I would have if I just bought a perfect one. But yeah, it's all part of the process of learning. Gave it a okay cow catcher, but I think the resemblance is it doesn't have the rear trailing wheel, but I think the resemblance is pretty good. I mean, it's certainly not the worst thing ever. It's by no means like a bolt counter, but I'm pretty happy with it. It runs all right. I need to apply some traction cement glue to a set of the wheels along here, just because when it runs it's not quite heavy enough and it doesn't quite have enough traction to get up the steeper slopes, but it can pull a small set of logs. The wheels also need to be cleaned. So besides that, hopefully I will have another video out for the Waco 6 project, since that's kind of the only one on my docket right now. So thanks for watching, everyone.